Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I said welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Good Monday evening.
Monday evening. It's even Monday evening here, sorta. Monday late afternoon. I guess it's late afternoon there too, since the sun doesn't set till 10:45. But
yeah, we already had a comment about that. God, you had to start the podcast before the sun went down tonight. Yeah, that's true. So
and that's Stolzy, who's in Cincinnati. He knows.
The nasty. The nasty natty. We are here. We are running a little late. And
we're not really running that late either. We're running on time for the scheduled podcast, which was built around a guest. And the guest is not going to be joining us.
No.
So,
it happens.
Onwards and upwards.
Well, it's kind of the story. You know, we talked about something, the curse or the jinx. I tweeted out that we had a guest coming, and no lie, 20
and then
minutes.
8 seconds later.
Yeah, he texted me.
I'm not going to make it.
I'm not going to be there. So we had actually.
And of course, Rory McIlroy won a golf tournament within seconds of you going at him last week.
Yeah.
The Ruther curse is unbelievable.
It's true. So our guest actually is a member of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow. Previewing the guest, even though we don't have eyes on the guest. I like it, but I mean, it's very, very Andy Ruther. Like now I'm like, this guy's never coming on the show.
Well, it's fine. You know, here's the deal. I think he'll probably come on at some point. You know, we've joked. I recently met him. I like him. Now we've joked though in the past, who is flakier, athletes or porn stars? And it was pretty neck and neck, man.
Yeah.
Like if an athlete says they're doing our show, I'd put it at would you put it greater or less than 50% chance?
How about this, Andy? We have, I mean, going back to the beginning of the show, we have circled a couple porn stars, correct?
Oh, 100%.
And how many of them have done the show?
0.
And we've had athletes flake, but we've also have had athletes show up. So
true.
There's really, I mean, the facts don't lie. Sometimes you just have to go to the analytics.
Yeah, true.
Porn stars infinitely, statistically, more flaky than athletes.
Yeah. Well, you know, I have no problem. I have no problem saying who it is. It's not like
let's save it.
No,
let's save it. Yeah, let's save it.
You want to save it?
Yeah, I like saving it.
Okay. Is it Joe Burrow? Is it Jamar Chase? I don't know.
It's gonna be cold in here when we do the podcast.
I am wearing my Joe Burr shirt.
Justin just turned into the South Park jizz meme.
You think Justin's bought his ticket for New Orleans yet?
I hope so. I hope other people have also bought their ticket for New Orleans. It's going to be a fucking fantastic weekend. I'm super excited about it.
December 16th, the December 15th, 16th, and 17th weekend. Get your plane tickets. Get your hotel accommodations.
In order of things that we're going to do. New Orleans. 1. 2. The 1000th episode. 3. Multiple comedy shows. 4. Giants at Saints.
I think we need to get Ed O. I think Ed O needs to meet Ed O.
Oh, that would be amazing. If we get Ed on the show.
I want to see Coach Orgeron here
Yeah.
You do him on Waze.
That's a pretty good impression of me, man. We should just start driving around fucking gas stations down there. Hope to run into him. Where is he from originally that he...
He's got to be from Louisiana.
Because he was so many places as a coach.
He was born in La Rose.
I love it.
I don't know how it's pronounced. La Rose, Louisiana. Well, this is pretty fascinating. Ed Orgeron was born to Edward in parentheses or in quotes Baba Orgeron Sr. And no, get this, and Cornelia in quotes Coco Orgeron. Wow.
Baba and Coco.
His parents are named Baba and Coco. Why am I not surprised? He is of Cajun.
Those were the only things little Ed could say when he was like 14. Like, Baba Coco, come down to football game. Want me to do my thing.
I love this. Wikipedia list, he's of Cajun descent. You think? You think? Oh, this is a little fun fact, though. He, his high school football quarterback that he played with, Little Saints back in the day legend, Bobby Hebert.
Wow.
Anyway, I would love to get Coach O.
Have you started watching quarterback yet?
No, but I see all the talk about it.
Well, you were speaking of like, oh, played with this guy, whatever. Fun fact that you learn on, I think, episode 2 or 3, Kirk Cousins played on Mike Singletary. Like Mike Singletary was the coach of Kirk Cousins' Pop Warner team or something like that.
Really?
Like, I don't even know how this happened. Also, you have to watch it. You have to see Kirk Cousins' man cave. Like he has a secret room with all his like game balls and like jerseys and shit like that. It is the worst designed room I've ever seen. Like you go in, like it's like an MTV Cribs. If MTV Cribs, like you had to build the room for $11. It is some fucking like. It just goes to show you like Kirk Cousins, and like honestly, first you see Kirk Cousins like main house, which I guess is in Minnesota, and you're like, dude, why do you live in like the same house Andy Ruther lives in Cincinnati? You make $30 million a year. What is happening? This is no diss on your place, by the way. I'm just saying, like,
None taken. It's
I'm
nothing
just saying,
special.
like, if you made $30 million, I would be dissing your place. I'd be like, Ruther, what are you doing? Why do you live here? Why do you have a 4-bedroom house when you can have a 40-bedroom house? And then he's got like a house on Lake Michigan, and in that house he has his like trophy room. He calls it his like, it's not his trophy room, but it's his like memories room, which already right there, like he was like, oh, welcome to my memories room. I was like, this is just going to be filled with like old porno mags and shit that he's like hiding from his Jesus freak dad or something. And you go in there, it is the jankiest room I've ever seen.
So how
Like,
many episodes are on
You
this
know how
show?
like those guys have like these gorgeous fucking basements with like pool tables and fucking golf simulators and like all this shit and their jerseys that they traded with players everywhere. He's just got literally mannequins with his like Vikings jersey on it. And like
That's creepy.
His high school choir t-shirt just like on a hanger, just like hung in the middle of the room, like on you're like, what are you doing?
So how many episodes is this?
It's, I believe, 8. And
Really?
it is exactly as you would imagine. They are three of the more boring guys.
So I
of
saw
all
the
time.
I saw the clip. Obviously, clips are infiltrated social media. So I saw the clip of Mahomes talking to Andy Reid during the Jags game in the playoffs about wanting to go back in.
I have not gotten that far yet.
Okay. It's a quick clip, and then it cuts to Brittany Mahomes, and I was like, dude, why? And she's in
the Brittany Mahomes is all over it.
Oh, she is.
Yeah. And she sucks. And there's no doubt about that. But let me just say this also. This should tell you everything you need to know about the other two guys. And Marcus Mariota seems like a fine dude. And Kirk Cousins seems like a nice enough guy, but just, I mean, I introduced my girlfriend the other day to the phrase cheddar dick
Great
because it was impossible to do. I was just like, what an absolute cheddar dick. And she was like, excuse me? He's a what? I was like, a cheddar dick.
He
I was
really
like,
is.
yeah. And Patrick Mahomes is infinitely, like 10,000%, 10 trillion% the most interesting of the three. And Patrick Mahomes
It's not
isn't that fucking interesting.
No. Yeah, I don't know why they cast these three guys.
And it's funny. I think it's an Omaha production. I'm not positive, but Peyton Manning is for sure the executive producer, and he intros it. And it made me be like, Peyton, what are you doing, man? Like, you're interesting. You're funny.
Sure.
You're entertaining. Did you just find like three guys who would fucking do it for free? Like, why these three?
Well, it's funny. It's interesting that Mahomes would do it because he's obviously the best quarterback in the NFL, right? And has been. So you're like, what's he trying to gain from it?
Yeah.
In fact, they just released, no surprise here, the annual list of rankings. They always do this where they get execs, coaches, scouts, and players, and they rank different positions. No surprise. Mahomes was ranked by all those people who work in the NFL as number one. Do any of these surprise you?
I don't know. I didn't see it. You guys taking down the list. Mahomes won. That's not a surprise. Yeah, obviously.
You know what? Let me just pull it up. I think a visual is good here. Yeah, obviously Mahomes won is not a surprise here. Let's see here. So we have Mahomes 1, Burrow number 2. And from what I read, like it wasn't even close. Like Burrow was by far the number 2. Number 3, Josh Allen. Number 4, Aaron Rodgers. Number 5, Justin Herbert. Number 6, Jalen Hurts. 7, Lamar Jackson. 8, Trevor Lawrence. 9, Dak Prescott. And 10, Matthew Stafford.
So I don't think there's anything surprising about the top 5, save for maybe the order. I know Aaron Rodgers had a down year last year, but I'm not sure, like with a gun to my head, that I necessarily take Josh Allen in a game over Aaron Rodgers right now, just based on a lot of things, because Josh Allen also didn't have the world's best year last year, super turnover heavy. But I think the Patrick Mahomes is in a class all his own.
Sure.
Burrow is obviously right. Like, Burrow is probably like easily 2 at this point. And I think Justin Herbert's extremely talented and deserving, but like, we still have a multiple time MVP. Like, to me, he's ahead of those two guys. Yeah, I think the 6 through 10 probably gets a little dicey for me. Just in terms of like a lot, like I think 6, 7 right there. Hurts and Jackson are two guys I think are probably overrated. Trevor Lawrence is probably properly rated at this point as like somewhere in that top 10, especially with the year he had last year. Dak Prescott, a guy also I'm not sure Dak Prescott belongs in this top 10.
Yeah.
To be totally honest with you. And Matthew Stafford is getting older and was injured last year, but on paper alone, based on like what he's done in his career, he should be on the other end of that top 6 list, as top 6 to 10 list,
for sure.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Now I know a lot of this stuff is obviously based on last year, but when you're talking about guys who were injured versus not injured versus like the team that they were on versus the team that they're going to be on, stuff like that, it's like, I'm not ready to like shovel Aaron Rodgers to death. And I'm not also ready to say like that at what point, other than when Matthew Stafford was sitting on the bench, last year injured, has Dak Prescott been better than him?
Yeah, no, that's a fair question. Everybody always wants to bring up like, dude, I'm to the point, all these discussions. I actually almost, it matters, but I swear the regular season doesn't really matter to me. I know I'm contradicting myself. It doesn't. It just doesn't. Dude, what is Dak doing?
Well, I think, when you talk about the regular season mattering, of course it matters. Of course it matters for these teams. Of course it matters for these players. Of course it matters for what. But I think when people talk about this stuff, it's not as simple as you put up good stats. I agree with whoever was in charge of this, that Kirk Cousins doesn't belong in the top 10.
Yeah.
I'm a Kirk Cousins truther. I'm sure if you click under that, there's Kirk Cousins fucking defenders in there, right? But I don't think he's better than probably any of those guys, save for maybe Dak. But Kirk Cousins, statistically, in the regular season, has been better than Dak, right? So if you're going to do what I do and say Kirk Cousins has won one playoff game in his whole career on a blatant offensive pass interference, he still won it. How many playoff games has fucking Dak Prescott won?
Well, yeah, and that's my point. It's
but all I'm saying is to me, and by the way, I'm by no means defending Kirk Cousins here. I'm just where does one come up with it? Where does one come up with the defense that Dak Prescott has been some elite quarterback in the NFL?
Well, I think, again, it's this is where the marketing comes in, right? You play for Cowboys. You play for the team we see all the time. You're in the Campbell's commercials. You're in the various commercials. You're in your Sleep Number commercials. All the whole thing. But you talk about game, you brought up Aaron Rodgers, game on the line. Yeah, dude, it's not even a question for me. Game on the line. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers over Justin Herbert right now. Justin Herbert, you dude, I like you too, but you blew a 4-touchdown lead. I know your defense didn't help, but put some points on the board. And that goes for somebody like a Dak Prescott. Come playoff time.
Dak Prescott threw 2 interceptions every single game since when he came back from injury last year. Every single game. He threw 2 interceptions in every game, or averaged 2 interceptions. Finally back. Who's 11? Cooper Rush?
Yeah. No, I don't know.
It kind of, it gets into one of those things where we start talking about tiers and whatever and blah, blah, blah. And it's you can rank these guys however the fuck you want. But the bottom line is Dak Prescott. I know we're going to talk about, quarterbacks and players when it comes to the who's getting paid and who's not with the running back situation. And I understand a Saquon Barkley being upset when he's not getting paid and Daniel Jones makes $40 million a year. But at the same time, that's just life in the NFL. And when you talk about tiers, you can call me a giant slurper all you want. Why is Dak Prescott better than Daniel Jones? Why is he? Based on what?
Well, people would argue statistically. Again, this is what we're talking about regular season.
So statistically, based on their careers, right? But based on their careers, isn't Aaron Rodgers 2 on this list? Isn't Aaron Rodgers maybe 1 on this list? Mahomes is 1 on the list, but we're not talking about their careers, right? Yeah. We're talking about last season. So if we're talking about right now,
sure.
I'll take the guy who learned not to turn over the ball last year with the good coach instead of the guy who's still turning the ball over, or the guy who stopped or started turning the ball over when his fucking offense changed. Either this is kind of a career list, or this is kind of a right now list. And it seems maybe it's a little bit confused.
Well, exactly. Again, you're asking NFL executives, coaches, scouts, and players.
And let's be honest, players don't know what the fuck they're talking
about. No, I was just going to say, dude, I'm to the point, if anybody ever brings up a player, in any argument with sports, I'm just like, dude, I don't give a shit. Like especially when it comes to basketball, like the player takes are just so out of control now that I'm just like, okay, I don't care what you guys think. Because also it's
because there's so much bias in that. Like we talk always about the bias. It's like there's so much bias in who's on your team, who's the guy from your like in baseball. It's like you ask any of those guys at the All-Star break, who's the best, and they just start naming dudes from their country.
Yeah, no, 100%. But like the running back situation right now, we've never seen it to this point. Basically, teams are saying we're not paying you guys.
When you talk about the pendulum swinging back and forth on they get paid, they don't get paid, they get paid, they don't get paid. I mean, we have gone from it being a position that was treated as an elite position to it's not that important. It's all running back by committee to Zeke and Gurley and McCaffrey and fucking God damn it. It's amazing how much my fucking brain malfunctions. Derrick Henry, all these guys getting paid. Now we swing back from that the other way. It's maybe past the point where it was before. There were still randos, little guys mixed in there getting paid before. And now you have, I believe the league's leading rusher last year, correct? Wasn't it Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, so Jacobs doesn't have a deal.
Pollard doesn't have Pollard.
No, Pollard did the franchise tag.
Yeah, but
so Pollard's going to do the $10 million this year.
But Saquon also has a franchise tag.
Yeah, but Pollard signed his.
Oh, okay. But still, it's you have a situation here where it's like these guys aren't getting long-term deals. And what's funny is Pollard outperforming Zeke is what should have earned him the money, but at the same time, it's why he's not getting it.
Because of Zeke, yeah. Well, look,
it's amazing.
And you talk about bias, and it's interesting seeing the players in this position, what they're saying. It's like Christian McCaffrey is quote tweeting what we just talked about. And he writes, "This is criminal. 3 of the best players in the league, regardless of position." But he's like the poster child. How many injuries has Christian McCaffrey had in the last few years? Dude, you're like the poster child. I've said it forever. I would not pay a running back. I don't know why these guys take it personally. You know firsthand. I know you're sticking up for your own kind, for lack of a better term, your own position, right? It's no different than like every union backing a corrupt cop or a teacher or a firefighter. It's like, it's the same fucking thing. You're sticking up for your own kind. Your own kind gets injured. You get injured. And
what's crazy is, again, well, like it's hard to argue like the injury thing. Like if you're arguing with like Christian McCaffrey, he's like, bro, we'd be in the Super Bowl if quarterbacks didn't get injured. And it's like, yeah, but you weren't in the Super Bowl because if a quarterback gets injured, you're fucked. Meanwhile, if your running back gets injured, you're probably fine.
You make your wide receiver your running back.
If Tiki Barber says some shit about Eli Manning not being a leader and everybody goes, cool, bro, get the fuck out of here, and then he leaves, you can go to the Super Bowl and fucking win it. If this guy holds out, you're going to be fine. Like, you go again to what team has won a Super Bowl with a high-paid running back? I mean, I think we're going back to Marshawn Lynch, essentially.
And who even knows how well he was paid at that point,
right?
To be honest. This is the equivalent of running backs. Everybody talks about artificial intelligence, right? It's a little terrifying, I'll be honest. Like they say it can just take over everything. That's kind of running backs right now. Like that position, right? Like AI is going to be doing social media. Like it's nuts. They're going to be doing everything. I don't know if you've looked at any of these apps. Basically, that's kind of the running back position is it's to that point of like you can just fill and I see.
Well, if you're talking basketball and you're talking baseball, it's way less used in football. Value over replacement player or wins, above replacement and whatever. And the truth is, in football, there's a lot of position there's a lot of positions where the value over a replacement player X is the gap is massive. You can't just plug in some other quarterback to the Bengals and say we're getting 70% of the production for 10% of the value. And for running backs, you absolutely can say that.
Oh, 100%. So, like, it's funny you bring that up with the Bengals. So Joe Mixon just took a big pay cut for the next 2 years. And the spin, especially by delusional Bengals fans, is like Joe Mixon taking less money because he wants to get Burrow and win. No, he doesn't want to win. Joe Mixon is charged with some crimes, guys. Joe Mixon had an off year. You take away the Carolina game, he didn't have that good of a year.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon is smart enough.
Joe Mixon doesn't want to get cut.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Joe Mixon knows, hey, do I take a few million less for the next 2 years, or do I get this guaranteed millions? Because 100% the Bengals were going to cut him. 100%. He's not trying to take this team-friendly deal because he wants to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
No.
And listen, it sucks because I feel for these guys, and I feel for a guy like Saquon, and I feel for because Saquon, like the Giants do need Saquon to be successful, but Brian Daboll is also. This isn't the quick fix fucking Ben McAdoo. Like him and Shine are putting together a thing for the future. And it's like, we're not going to hamper ourselves with a long-term deal that costs us money because we might not win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
And we might not win the Super Bowl next year. We have to build something here that's sustainable.
100%.
And that's why it's super frustrating if you're Saquon, because you're like, but you gave Daniel Jones $40 million. It's like, yeah, man, I get it. Like if I was Daboll, it's like, I understand that you're upset right now. The bottom line is if we just pick player X and pencil him in a quarterback, we're fucked. But the bottom line is just in the NFL today, the running back, like we can plug somebody in and get 70% of your production. We might not get the big play that we get from you, which is what would make us a way better chance. But like, if I give you that money, we're fucked. And then it doesn't matter. Then no one wins.
Well, this tweet, which Derrick Henry himself quote tweeted from, I don't know if he's a current or former NFL scout, Matt Miller. I mean, it's right. He's right. He said, been saying it for years. 1, draft a running back. 2, play the running back. If he's good, 3, franchise tag the running back 1 time, and then 1, draft a running back. He's basically saying keep him for 3 to 4 years.
Right.
Rinse, cycle, repeat.
And that's where Saquon Barkley finds himself. And he's like, man, like if my team that I've already been great for isn't going to pay me, obviously no one else is going to fucking pay me. So where I'm at right now is take the franchise deal, and potentially that's the last money I'll really fucking get.
Well, look, man, I know we've brought it up. Todd Gurley's the poster child, man.
Right.
Saquon's 26. Todd Gurley's 28. Todd Gurley's been out of the league for 2 years. I know it sucks, but it's like, dude, just take the millions. I don't know what to tell these guys. I mean, it really is. It's the value just isn't there for the money. It's all the quarterback. And I'd even argue, I mean, at this point, I think we could have a legit discussion. I'd argue the wide receiver is more valuable than the running back.
Well, I think that again, a great receiver takes your game plan and can change it on a play-to-play basis. Saquon Barkley, like if you look like Zeke or versus Pollard, like or a Saquon Barkley versus whoever. Now the Giants don't have like another like quality backup, like whatever. But what Saquon adds is that he can take those random 5-yard gains and turn them into touchdowns. But that's happening once every 2 or 3 games. And sure, he can take those 2-yard losses and make them 2-yard gains with like his shiftiness and his ability. But like, if you're not blocking to the point where like if you're going to have a dominant running game, it's all on your offensive line.
Yeah.
And
100%.
And so having a dominant running game and then being able to add a Saquon or a Derrick Henry or somebody that can like do something after you're dominating. Okay. But a receiving core, a great receiver, like you don't need anything to go along with that. Like Devontae Adams gets separation. Tyreek Hill gets separation. Sure, you can, you're going to be better if your offensive line is protecting enough, but also with everything that's happening now with the way the offenses are changing, all the quick actions and all the line changes, all that stuff like that, like you don't need crazy good pocket protection to have an offense that moves the ball.
No. I mean that's 100% true. I mean, we can discuss right now. It's almost a segue to discuss DeAndre Hopkins. It's like he's been injured. He was suspended, right? What, for PEDs? It's like he's coming off back-to-back seasons under 750 yards. Like what's his value? You're 31, man. Like these guys age so quickly now.
Yeah.
You're 31. Like what's his value?
And that's, I think when you
and that's
talk
not
about
a diss at him, right, Joe? Because he was great when he was great, but it's like you're 31. You don't compare to Jamar Chase. Sorry, dude. You don't compare to Justin Jefferson. You just don't. You don't.
Well, here's the thing with DeAndre Hopkins, and this goes for a lot of those guys too, even some of the guys you just talked about. If you're on a shit team, if you're just on a shit team, it doesn't matter. I mean, look at fucking Saquon Barkley. When the Giants were shit, it's like, cool, man. That's the most brilliant move I've ever seen put on a linebacker. You fucking shifted him out of his shoes. You went from a 6-yard loss to a 2-yard gain. Like, if you're on a shit team, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. So DeAndre Hopkins, when he was on the fucking Cardinals, you're irrelevant, bro.
Yeah.
You're irrelevant. But on a team that has been good the last couple of years and has had a lack of receivers who can get separation, I mean, I don't think Hopkins is changing the game for the fucking Titans, but he at least becomes a go-to guy on a good team. And for a good team to be a great team, you need a go-to guy. There's not a ton of teams out there. When we talk about it with running backs, oh, the fucking running backs. How many teams have won a fucking title with a top 5 paid running back? How many teams have won a title without a go-to guy on their receiving core?
Yeah. I mean, look at Cooper Kupp in that.
Look at Cooper Kupp. Look at Kelsey. Look at like where are the guys? Where are the teams that didn't have a fucking the guy?
I mean, you could maybe argue some of those Patriots run teams, but you still had Gronk.
Yeah, I mean the go-to
like, Edelman has an MVP.
Yeah. Also, I mean, when you talk about Gronk, it's like pretty safe to say he was the go-to guy since the second Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay. He was like, he fucking put out the Gronk signal.
True.
You know? And also the Super Bowl they lost to the Giants, Gronk was hurt. The Super Bowl they lost to the Giants, Gronk wasn't there yet. Like, so yeah, safe to say he's the go-to guy.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I think we've basically just said our argument. I think we both agree the wide receiver is more valuable than the running back at this
Yeah,
point.
absolutely.
And it's
Now
just,
the other thing with wide receivers is there's a core of wide receivers, but your one receiver, your number one guy is more important than your running back, or your number one receiver or tight end, whatever. That guy is more important than your running back. Absolutely. That's just football today.
So do you think?
I don't think you could, but there's probably people who couldn't name there's probably Browns fans that are 60 years old who couldn't name a receiver on the fucking Jim Brown teams, but like that ain't football anymore.
No. So with the position Saquon's in, do you think he plays? I mean, no, look, Le'Veon Bell's the last guy just sit out a season. So how it works is he's not going to lose any money. Any of these guys, Josh Jacobs, they don't lose any money until they start missing games.
Right. I don't know. Because the thing, if you're Saquon, that I just don't know, like, then what? Where do you want to be traded to? Like, if the Raiders aren't paying Josh Jacobs and the fucking Cowboys aren't paying Pollard and Kamara had to fucking sit out and Le'Veon, like, I would argue this. If I was sitting in a room with Saquon, and I know agents don't want to hear this shit, but it's like, let's say you could go get a couple million more bucks somewhere else than the franchise tag you get for us. Let's say whatever we're offering you, you think we're $2 or $3 million off. Is it in your best interest? Do you really think, like, Saquon Barkley is a guy, like, do you really think you're better off? By the way, is Eckler fucking signed? I think Eckler might be a fucking free agent.
No, I think
he was complaining too, right?
He was. I think he's with the Chargers. I think they re-signed him.
If my point is, if you're Saquon, what's the team out there that you're pushing over the top that you can say, well, I got a little bit of money and I got a ring, versus New York, where you might not get the ring, but you're going to get okay money, but you're also going to be in fucking New York.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
Like, who's the team out there? Like, I don't know if you're one of these running backs. Where are you going? Like, Mixon just took a deal. Like, if you're Saquon Barkley, you're not putting the Cincinnati Bengals over the top. You're not putting, like, what, you're going to go be on the Bills? Is that the move here? You want to be traded, and you want to be traded to a team like the Bills? First of all, do we even know that the Bills are wanting? Like, I just don't know who's paying you that money.
Yeah, well, Eckler, same thing happened. So he was in a contract.
Right.
This is as of 2 days ago or yesterday. He's bitching. He was in a contract, and they're like, dude, we're not really going to pay you. Because the Chargers know they hold all the cards. So basically, they reworked his deal by adding an additional $1.75 million in incentives for this year. And he went on Rich Eisen's show yesterday, and he said, I mean, but see, these guys don't get it. If I'm looking at some of the backup receivers out here that are still making more than me, that's going to piss me off, right? I'm like, okay, wait a minute. You're telling me these people are the number 3 receivers and they're going to make more than me, and I'm the starter. I get more carries, touch the ball more. I have more of an impact. Sorry, bro. That's what it is.
Yeah, but if you guys all want to get that money on a 1-year deal, you guys can all get $12 million forever on 1-year deals. You can all be paid more than everybody except for the number 1 receiver on every team if you take it on one year at a time. But you don't want to take it 1 year at a time.
You want the guaranteed.
You want the guaranteed money, and teams aren't going to give it to you because no running backs last over fucking 28.
And that's what probably Tony Pollard
NFL
did.
running backs are Leonardo DiCaprio's girlfriends. You look great, but at 26, I don't give a fuck anymore. I mean, you look great right now, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't let girls come on the yacht that are 27 plus.
Well, and that's probably why Tony Pollard took the deal. He said, hey, either I make nothing or I get $10 million this year. It's a lot of money, man. $10 million.
Because if you look at a Le'Veon Bell situation, Like, if there's a team out there that's like the Jets were at the time, who's like desperate for a thing, now all of a sudden you get your fucking Jets deal, you play on a shitty team. Spoiler, you fucking stink because their offensive line stinks, and you're out of football in 2 years.
Yeah. I know, man. It's crazy.
If a guy like Saquon or Josh Jacobs or whatever was smart, what they would do is, and the reason they're not going to do this is because running backs get hurt a lot, but what they would do is what fucking Dion used to do and just be like, are you on the verge of winning a Super Bowl? Do you want a $12 million running back to get you over the hump? I'm your guy. Saquon Barkley should win a Super Bowl the next 4 years by signing 1-year deals with the team, with the fucking Bengals, the Bills, the Chiefs, the fucking Jets, the whoever. Yeah. But he's not going to do that because they need this money. And I understand it. Of course I fucking understand it.
Well, I mean, it's almost like playing the stock market with your body, right? You're saying, can I sustain at this level? Or am I going to play the market with a more conservative approach and just take the money? Right? I mean, it's no different. You're in a casino.
If you look at a team like the Titans are absolutely fucking nothing the last 5 years without Derrick Henry. But also, they did not win a Super Bowl.
No. They didn't even sniff one. I mean, let's call it what it is. They didn't sniff one. Like, let's call it what it is, guys. They didn't sniff a Super Bowl. Like that AFC Championship, they got their ass kicked. Absolutely.
And they drafted a quarterback. And they had Mariota. They drafted him fucking 2. They replaced him. They drafted a guy that they were hoping was going to replace Tannehill. They drafted a guy that was hoping to replace Tannehill because the guy they drafted didn't work out. They're fucking like, dude, we will take Saquon, we will take fucking Derrick Henry and fire him into the sun in a rocket ship if you give us a quarterback.
How long would it take those dreads to burn?
I think they'd go up fucking quick.
That's what I'm saying. Those are some thick dreads, man.
But yeah, it sucks. But it sucks because it's gonna, we talked about this with the Kaepernick thing, and we talked about this with like the Odell thing. We talked about this with like, it is going to have a trickle down effect where I don't see guys wanting to be running backs in the future. Like, now it's still going to be an elite thing in high school. It's still going to get you college scholarships. It's still going to get you. But if you're on Alabama, if you show up to Alabama and you're a fucking elite athlete, if you're fucking Saquon Barkley, if you're built like Saquon Barkley, do you want to be a running back or do you want to be a fucking elite corner at this point? Like, it's hard. It's just as hard to get paid almost, but like if you do it,
like we always say, follow the money.
Yeah.
I would argue you're better off in the long run as a cornerback.
Now, there's not a lot of guys out there that like get paid like that too, but also if you are a guy like I'm saying Saquon Barkley,
but Joe, you can last longer. It's not, you're not going to take the wear and tear on your body that you do at running back.
But also, when you talk about a guy like Saquon, like I'm talking about these athletes, it's like, dude, Saquon Barkley is the kind of guy who, if he picked up golf tomorrow, he'd be better than me by Thursday. You know what I mean? Like he's like a fucking ridiculous athlete. Now, he's not tall enough to be a wide receiver, and he's not fucking big enough to be a defensive end, but like.
But let me.
He can be a corner.
I'll say this: Sauce Gardner is going to make more money in his career than Saquon.
Yeah, probably.
Right. Again, he's not taking the hits. He's just locked down, shut down cornerback. Well, training camp start next week. All this football talk.
Yeah.
It's right.
I'll be in New York next week, so I'm thinking maybe am I gonna go to training camp? I don't know if Saquon will be there, but I might be there.
I'm shocked you're not plugging anything. Like you're like, I'm gonna be in New York. There's no plug right now.
August 4th and 5th at Atlantic City Comedy Club at the Claridge Hotel.
There you go.
Yeah, please come. I just posted on my Instagram grid and shared it to my story. Tickets available now. There's a ticket link. I'll be in New York as is usual. I'm sure I'll add some New York City dates, the Stand and the Cellar and all the usual places. But if you're a Jersey Shore type of cat, if you're that part of Pennsylvania, fucking Philly dirtball, come to Atlantic City. I'll be in Atlantic City. 2 shows the 4th, 2 shows the 5th.
Wait,
the newly
hold on. Did Joe just ask a Philly dirtball?
Yeah, I'm just listen.
A Philly dirtball?
Listen. I will take like a Nick DiDonato and give him a swirly in the comedy club bathroom but come,
wow, that is a throwback.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that name for a while.
But yeah, if you're a dirtball down in those parts, come. Are you ready for this, Andy? The newly married Pete Sestaro foregoing a honeymoon to come.
He got married. Congrats to Pete.
Yeah, he eloped technically. So yeah, he's married.
I thought he's just one of those guys who's just never gonna get married. He'd be with the same girl forever.
We all thought Andy Ruther wouldn't have a kid, but like, man, 2023 is wild.
Yeah,
Ruther, kid, Sestaro, married, Saquon Barkley can't get a job. It's wild out here in these streets.
Yeah, no, it really is. You hear that rain at all?
No, is it raining there in Cincy?
Oh, it's pouring now. I can hear it. So you watched this? What was this? The celebrity golf thing?
Yes, I did. A wild American Century Classic in Tahoe. This is the first year in a while. I think this is the first year in 5 or 6 years, save for 2020 when there was no crowds, that I have not been to the celeb tournament. But I wanted to talk about it for a couple reasons. First of all, Steph Curry won the whole thing. I don't know if you saw that. He's the first.
He won, yeah.
He's the first active athlete to win in like forever, and he was wildly entertaining this weekend. He hit a hole-in-one on the 7th hole there, which is like, of all the par threes there, I don't want to say it's the hardest. The 12th, I think it is, that's uphill. It's probably harder, but like, they have the hole-in-one contest on 17. The 5th hole is an easier par 3. I would say the 7th is at least the second hardest par 3 there. He hit a hole-in-one, beautiful shot. It was as they went live on Saturday. They're like, we're live here at the American Century Classic. Steph Curry, your leader, here on 6. He hits a wedge in on 6. It's gorgeous. He steps up to 7, hole-in-one. Great. Coming down the stretch, it's him and Marty Fish, who's a former professional tennis player and somebody that Jack Nicklaus calls the best golfer he's ever seen that was not a professional golfer. So big praise for Marty Fish. He's won it in the past. He's like constantly in the, in the top group. Romo's won it a couple times recently. Romo, tough weekend. Didn't play his best. Coming down the stretch, Steph, rough back 9 yesterday. Starts the day with the lead. Down the stretch, gives up the lead. It's a modified Stableford scoring. So instead of minus scores, it's plus scores. You get +3 for a birdie. You get +6 for an eagle. You get 1 for a par. You get 0 for a bogey. So it's basically you just want to be bogey or better. Double bogeys are killer. So coming down the stretch, Steph is down 3. So I was rooting for extra golf. I'm like, okay, if Marty Fish birdies this hole, Steph has to come with an eagle, and we get bonus golf. If Steph comes with a birdie, and Marty somehow just bogeys the hole, we get extra golf. So I'm rooting for extra golf. But I'm also rooting for, and I should say this, because I know some people think I don't like Steph. I love Steph Curry. What's fucking not to like about Steph Curry? Steph Curry's great. Steph Curry's a phenomenally entertaining basketball player. Seems like a good guy. I love Steph. And this is where we get a little bit dicey. Because if I have a problem with Steph, it's the Steph heads, the Steph fanatics, the Steffi stands. They go too far. They go too far. There was a time when LeBron James was carrying nobodies to the NBA finals, and people were like, Steph's the best player in basketball. Get fucked, okay? Calm the fuck down. Steph is...
Who's your boy?
I don't even know. Who's my boy?
The guy you used to always go back and forth with about Steph. And
was that our boy fucking Joe DeShow fucking whatever?
Joe DeShow.
Yeah. And there's multiple guys there. There's also Suck a Brick or whatever on our Reddit page. He's a real Steph fucking fanatic. And it's just like, calm down. So I'm rooting for Steph in this tournament, right? But first I'm rooting for extra golf. But I'm very much rooting for Steph. I don't give a fuck about this old tennis player. I don't give a fuck about Joe Palveski or whatever, fucking some hockey player. I don't give a fuck about any of these people. I'd root for Steph to bang my fucking girlfriend before I rooted for Tony Romo to win anything. I'm rooting for Steph in this tournament. So on 18, Marty Fish is on the tee box. If he pars the hole, it's going to be tough. If he pars the hole, Steph needs an eagle to win. Steph can't win if he birdies. In his backswing, Joe DeShow, Suck a Brick, somebody, Andy Lazarus, somebody, some Steph head screams bloody murder in the dude's backswing. And Marty Fish hits a ball into the fucking trees. Steph hits a pure fucking drive. There's all this conversation on the tee box. I hear at least two people, and I'm assuming it was the guys in his group, say reload, which means dude, hit another. This isn't this is a celebrity tournament. This isn't the PGA Tour. Hit another. And he's kind of like, nah, it's fine. Whatever. Marty scrambles, has a birdie putt, leaves it 2 inches short, and Steph sinks the eagle putt. Great, magical fucking eagle putt for the win. And he goes bananas. And it's great. But it's in that whole fucking thing, it's everything I love about Steph Curry and everything I hate about Steph Curry. It's so clutch. So fucking incredible golfer. 18 needs at least a birdie. Eagle would fucking do it. Gets it. Sinks a long ass putt. All kind of fucking ruined by the fact that some Steph head that's fucking would rather ruin some golf tournament than not watch his favorite player fucking lose. You're just some adult man out there screaming in a dude's backswing. It was remarkably fucked up, and I thought ruined what would have otherwise been an insanely magical ending. No matter what, it would have been insane. But the dude hits the ball in the trees and still finishes with a 2-inch short birdie putt, and he still parred the hole. The idea that he doesn't birdie that hole.
Why did he just shoot again?
Probably because it's there are rules and you can't. He probably should have. If I were him,
what would happen if you were at a legit PGA event and somebody just yelled?
I don't know. I can tell you what happens when I'm with fucking Gubbins and Laz playing golf. They're tee it up again. That motherfucker honked his horn in your backswing. This motherfucker on the next hole just hit his first birdie and screamed fucking yippee-ki-yay motherfucker while you were taking your swing. Hit another. So it's kind of I'm assuming that in a PGA event, they find the guy who yelled, and some, Saudi terrorist puts a bullet in his head, and you just gotta fucking and you just play on.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like the thing about the celebrity golf is it's kind of a bridge between these two scenarios. It's not me and Laz on a course, but it's not the PGA Tour. Like, he probably should have hit again.
Yeah, I guess I've never thought about that. If somebody yells.
Yeah.
But then it's also like, okay, well, if a tree falls right as you're about to swing,
go find your happy place.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't get another hack at it.
Yeah, but a tree didn't fall. It's like, that's like saying,
I don't know.
If,
it's interesting.
If a tree falls and an acorn hits you in the neck, yeah, you don't get a re-swing. But if a guy shoots you in the neck with a BB gun, you probably should.
I bet there's got to be rules stated when you would get another swing.
Yeah. But it was fucked. And it was like, it was crazy. I mean, still an amazing putt by Steph to win it. But it's like, I'm rooting for you. You're amazing. I can't believe you're this good at golf and this good at basketball. Can't believe you hit that hole-in-one yesterday. Can't even believe you have an eagle look for the win here. I can't believe you're an active basketball player and you're about to win this fucking tournament. Also, I hate that some people, like, Steph Curry is the Taylor Swift of basketball fans, of basketball players. Like, some of his fans are just like, dude, like, calm down. You just ruined a golf tournament.
I wonder how often he plays.
A lot. He's fucking good. For a guy like Marty Fish is good.
But what is a lot? What is a lot in the off season? 3 times a week?
Probably.
That is a lot.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
Like that between golf and basketball. You got no time to do anything else.
Tell me about it, dude. I mean, between golf and this podcast, I don't have any time to do anything else.
You compare yourself to a guy that does 82 games a year. Unbelievable.
Well, I don't think he's playing a lot of golf during the season. I'm sure.
No, because he's on planes.
Yeah.
Going from city to city. All right. Well, we have a lot of dirtball calls today.
Love it.
We have lots.
I hope one of them's the guy who fucking yelled out Marty Fish's backswing.
No, it's not. I don't think he's calling in. 310-359-8365. A lot of calls. A lot of diverse group of calls too, from sports to non-sports to just all right, we'll start off with a quick hitter.
Okay.
Our old buddy John Smith.
We've kind of hit that dead zone in sports. So I'll ask you a question. We all watch the NBA draft. We all watch the NFL draft. This year, the NBA draft was almost unwatchable. Every time, this is a great pick. This is a great pick. Super high floor, super high ceiling. They said nothing bad about any of the prospects, all with kid gloves. Now, on the flip side, you watch the NFL draft, and Kuiper's like, this is a terrible pick. This is a terrible idea. What is the difference? Why are they doing this? It's terrible. Later, boys.
Yeah, I never thought about it. It's a good point. NFL is just like, oh my God, why would they take this guy? NBA, you don't really hear negativity.
I think that there's some like part of it where in the NBA, it's really hard to project these guys. They're so, like, some of them are so young. It's how, like, in football, you've watched these guys play for a couple of years. You've seen what they can do at the college level. It's like, dude, we talked about it with like De'Aaron Fox. It's like these guys, it's all the upside thing. The upside, like, is this guy going to grow into a player and grow into a player? Like, we talk about the last running back to be highly paid. When's the last, like, the guy who wins like the fucking Naismith award or whatever, the guy who's like some craft, like, like who's the dude on Gonzaga? Mr. Never gonna play in the fucking NBA. You know what I mean? Like,
Timmy, Drew Timmy.
Yeah, Timmy. Like, it's really hard because you're like projecting this. But the other thing is, can you imagine the supercut of the last 25 years of Mel Kiper just fucking absolutely duffing it? Just like, this guy fucking stinks. You're like, that's Aaron Rodgers, bro. Like, real reach here by the Chiefs going up and getting Patrick Mahomes when they have Alex Smith on the roster. And you're like, how do they even let you do this still? It's like in the world of fucking freezing cold takes. Like, it's amazing that fucking Mel Kiper even still exists. And I don't blame guys for not wanting to just like be wrong.
Yeah. No, and obviously you have a lot more positions in football, right? You have 22 guys in the field. So there's going to be terrible picks. There's going to be reaches. You are right. And the NBA is like, you're just like, the NBA is just so weird because it's all potential, man, on so many of these guys. They might play 1 year at Duke and average 7 points a game and just be a star.
Yeah, or be Kyrie Irving and play 7 minutes.
Yeah. No, it is tough. Okay, let's hop to a non-sports call.
Hey boys, it's Preston. You're in Indiana DirtBall, and I just left a message. I wanted to add something, so I can play this one. I am moving to LA. I'm making the worst financial decision, and getting out of this quality of life in Indiana. And so I'm just curious if you have any tips or any advice on the best way to move cross country. I just would like anything you have to offer. And congratulations on your upcoming 1000th episode. You guys stay dirty, boys.
My first advice, don't do it unless you're a little more financially sound. Spoken from somebody who made that decision.
I couldn't disagree more with Andy Ruther. You'll fucking figure it out. You'll be fine. Like whatever it is, you're gonna.
I figured it out for sure.
Yeah, we all figured it out. You figure it out one way or the other. And I was just thinking about this the other day, just to like double down on that idea of like whatever. I remember being in my 20s. Like it's been a long time since I had roommates, and I love not having roommates, and I love my own space, and I love that like the dishes in the sink are my dishes, or if they want to stay there, whatever. But I also go back to living with Pete Sestaro, living with my friends in an apartment in New York. And I remember, I think about it now, like in my head, I'm like, I was so fucking broke. And I know that, like, I remember being broke, but like the details of that, the day to day, like, I don't think about it at all. I just think about how much fucking fun we had. I was like, God, I was destitute.
True.
I like look at Vince's dog food and be like, is there protein in there for a human? But then also be like, but you know what? I've never had more fun than just like going out, spending my last fucking $17 on beers and fucking having the time of my life. So it's like, you're not like, when you are financially set, you're never going to think back and be like, I wish I'd fucking hung out longer and blah, blah, blah. Like, you're going to have the goddamn time of your life.
Well, the only reason I said, like, I would say, when I don't mean like, dude, here's the thing. I don't mean like, oh, you got to save up big time, because you have to make these decisions young. Because if you don't make them young, you're never going to do it.
Right.
So like I always do. I'm always for it. Go for it. You should. That is true. I never thought about that. I had a lot of great times being broke. A lot of great times. And I mean dead broke. My roommate, I was so broke in LA. My first roommate in LA, he could just go to his parents. And I just remember the amount of spaghetti. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so cheap, right?
Yeah.
The amount of just noodles.
And you cook 2 pounds of spaghetti at a time, and then you're eating it for the next 3 days.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dude,
and I just, yeah.
Pizza Star used to work for Johnson & Johnson, and he was like a pharmaceutical sales rep, and he would do these like doctor and social worker and nurses dinners. And I would go, and it was like I may as well have gotten my SAG card for it. He's like, you're a social worker from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If anybody asks, you're a social worker from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And then I'm there just like eating, getting free fucking food, free drinks. And then some girl was like, I know you. I was like, yeah, I'm a social worker from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She's like, you're a comedian. And I was like, no, I'm a social worker from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And she's like, no, I've seen you do shows. I was like, can you shut the fuck up? I'm a broke comedian. I'm trying to get fucking dinner.
Like my first year was rough too, because I was living off the 101 in LA, and I was so broke. But like when I moved to Venice in May of 2008, that was a good feeling, right? Where like finally I could move, and I always remember that first night. We'd moved in, same thing with my roommate, and this is actually pretty funny looking back on it. He was like, we moved in, you know, in the complex of Savage Town, and we're right next to the beach. And we got our whole setup, and he's like, we're like drinking a couple beers and eating like some local pizza place, which we thought we'd always go to, Marina Del Rey. I don't know if you know that place in that little shopping center. We never went again.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's like not the worst pizza, but like whatever. Anyway, and he just makes a comment, and he's like, we're watching Californication, because season 1 had already passed, and right, they film in Venice, so we're like watching where we live. And anyway, he just takes a drink of beer and he looks at me and he goes, dude, this is the life. He goes, I could probably live with you till I was like 40. He moved out a year later.
Yeah. Well, I don't, and let's get back to this caller, because like I fully fucking support this, and I mean this truly. Like, dude, you're moving to LA, like hit me up, like we'll fucking grab a beer sometime or whatever. But his question was, any tips on moving across country? And I'm like, or any tips on like how to or whatever. It's like, I'm not sure if he's asking like, do I get a U-Haul? Do I get movers? Or he's talking about like, where should I live? Or he's talking about like whatever. I don't know. But my advice in terms of if you haven't like found a place in LA is everybody's got a budget, you know, but I would say this, for coming from a guy who lived in a 285 square foot studio apartment in Venice for a while, find a place you want to live and find a place you can afford there, even if it's the size of your fucking shoebox. The idea of you will turn around and go back to fucking Indiana in 2 weeks if you go, I found this super nice place. It's in Van Nuys. I found this super nice place. It's in North Hollywood. You're like, dude, you're going to come here. You're going to think it sucks. And you're fucking going to go home. Find a place around what you want to be around. I don't know if you're getting into the business. I don't know if you want to be near the studios. I don't know if you want to be near Burbank. I don't know if you want to be near the beach. I don't know if you want to be near the fucking airport. I don't know if you're going to want to be near some job you get. But like, figure out where you want to live and just figure out how to live there or live close.
That's actually good advice. Here's the thing. You do have to know where you want to live. I hated my first year where I was at on North Rampart, like I said, off the 101. And that's when I made the decision. I said, I'm not all the way out in LA. And I was already in Vegas. I'd already been on the West Coast, but I made the decision in my head. I have to be by the beach. The beach matters to me. I'm a kid who grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, nowhere near an ocean. I have to be by the beach. And I did. And I made that decision. And for the rest of the time I lived in LA, right? I'm by the beach. You really do have to make that decision. What's important to you? In my head, when I moved there at first, Joe, I thought I want to be relatively close to comedy clubs in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then I learned quickly, I don't care about that as much because you can always drive there.
And then it's like, oh, I found a place that I can afford. It's a size I like. And I live in Glendale and I can't handle traffic. I want to go to see Joe Prano at the Improv, or I want to go to the beach, or I want to go over here. You're like, fuck, dude, traffic sucks. I'm in traffic fucking 2 hours a day. It's like, yeah, dude. If you move to New York City, if you move to New York and then you moved in, you went to live in Ronkonkoma, Long Island, you'd be like, fucking New York City is fucking far. It's just like, dude, yeah. Go live in the East Village in a shoebox. Like, you don't need a lot.
No,
LA
you don't.
is still fucking. There's so much to do.
Well, and the thing about not eating, that's what people don't realize. You really don't. You will adjust. Like humans, we're like animals adjust pretty well. Like the thought of like, oh, I'm in a small apartment and I'm used to something way bigger. You're gonna adjust just fine. Most people do. I mean, we've all been in shitty. I mean, I was in a studio apartment with people living on my couch.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick D'Alessandro lived on my couch 3 years ago.
Yeah.
For 3 months. 3 years ago, I was in my late 30s, and I had a early 20s guy living on my couch, and I was like, "We'll make it work." And you want to hear something crazy? We talked about Kirk Cousins' house at the beginning of the show. I sometimes am like, and not sometimes, I say this all the time to my girlfriend. I was like, this house, and it's not a massive house. My house is too big. I need to pump out more kids, or this isn't justifiable.
Yeah.
Like, full disclosure, I do. Like, I don't need a 4-bedroom house.
Yeah.
I just don't. Now, if I have a kid or two more, yeah, it's cool. It works.
Find a place for the amenities you want. You want a pool. You want to be by the beach. You want to be near a certain restaurant. You want to be near something about work. You're coming here because you love fucking, I don't know what. Go live there. Because if you come here and you put yourself in some place that sucks, you're going to be like LA sucks. The amount of people that I knew who moved to LA and moved back to New York when I was still doing comedy, and then I moved out here, I was like, why the fuck would anybody move back? Like, oh, I fucking hated it, dude. Fucking North Hollywood sucks. I'm like, yeah, North Hollywood sucks. Like, why the fuck would you live there? Like, if you lived in fucking Santa Monica or Venice or Malibu or fucking the South Bay or Playa or whatever, you'd be like, LA's fucking amazing. And there's people who are hip and they like the east side of LA and like, cool, do that shit. But don't move somewhere because it's cheap and then fucking hate it and then go running back to Indiana. Because I promise you, there is a place here for everybody. There's going to be some shit you like. If you like restaurants or bars or fucking comedy clubs, the music business, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah. Okay, this next call, I'll be curious what you have to say about this as far as a memory for you as a kid.
What's going on, Dirty Sports? It's Dolby in Cincinnati. I am currently sitting in my car outside of a softball complex on a Saturday because nobody ever refuses to cancel a fucking game, even though they know it's supposed to rain all day. Anyway, that's got me sitting in my car watching a bunch of old YouTube highlights and stuff, and it kind of had me, wonder about something because the old Bill Buckner play came up where the ball goes through his legs in Game 6 of the 86 World Series. And I guess it's more of like a Prano question more than anything, but Ruther, if you have anything you can put in on it, what was the immediate reaction following that game? If you guys can remember anything or remember stories of it or anything like that, what was the media, what were newspapers saying? What was radio talk? What was everybody saying about it? Because I feel like if something like that happened now, oh my God, you would forget that the next game even starts that night, the next night.
So there's my answer for this isn't going to be fucking great because
how old are you? Let's go to your age.
I'm 7.
You're 7, yeah.
Pretty young.
Yeah.
Pretty young. I know this, I have memories from that age, but they're not that vivid. You know what I mean? But also, here's the thing about the 86 Mets, Buckner, everything that comes after / my Mets fandom. My dad's I've talked to us a million times. Not a sports fan. Cares about Italian soccer. Was super hyped when Pele joined the New York Cosmos. Wouldn't have known Darryl Strawberry if he sat down at his fucking dinner table. He'd be like, who the fuck is this guy? So that was sort of that playoffs and World Series, all the hype around it, and the fact that I had started playing, like, I mean, you're 7 years old. You're not playing fucking little, like, you're playing T-ball. You're playing like coach pitch. You're playing like young kid fucking baseball still. But I started playing young kid baseball, and I really liked baseball. I got really into baseball from playing it. And then I got really into baseball because I was playing it, and the Mets were really good and were winning the World Series and all this stuff. So, like, it was all something that happened together that was sort of the birth of my fandom. So the Mets win this World Series. There's the fucking parade. There's the fucking story. This thing through the legs. This guy's parachuting down to the fucking field during the World Series. You're like, dude, it was insane. Like, the Buckner thing was just like one of a million things that was happening at that time in regards to like baseball and the Mets in New York. Like, you're like if you ask 7-year-old Joe Prano about the Buckner thing, I'd be like, dude, did you see the guy who parachuted into the game? Like, there was a guy who parachuted into the game.
Yeah.
You're like, well, the guy also thing. And you have like Carter and Gooden and Hernandez. And like, it was just like, for a young baseball fan, it was just like all of it. Like, the Buckner thing wasn't that much crazier than anything else to a young baseball fan that was happening. I was just like, so every year, like, all the athletes just get into a car and drive down Broadway, and the whole city throws paper out the window. Like, what is happening right now? And they're like, no, it's a ticker tape parade. That's when they win the championship. And I'm like, oh, so this isn't just like, no, like, it's because they won. And you're like, this is fucking crazy. And then so in 87, now I'm like, oh, I'm a Mets fan. Like, this is my life. Like, this is like everything that I'm doing now. Like, starting in 1987, because the Mets win the World Series, I'm like, how many games are there? My mom's like, 162. I'm like, cool. I watch all of them. And she's like, take it easy. And I'm like, no, I'm watching 162 baseball games this year. And if they're playing on the West Coast, I'm staying up till 10 p.m. to start the game. And she's like, you're 7. You're going to bed. And I'm like, I don't fucking think so. In fact, figure out how to record things on the VCR. I'll be watching them on tape delay. And she's like, Jesus Christ, this is our life now. And I'm like, yeah. So hard for me to tell you about like I wasn't getting up and reading the morning paper at 7. I wasn't like, what's the New York Times have to say about that Buckner era? Like, I wasn't I wasn't a 7-year-old accountant that was like getting up and was like, mother, I need my pancakes and orange juice and the morning papers. I've got to read about the Buckner era. Like, it was Clockwork Orange, eyes fucking open, peeled open, baseball fucking bonanza.
It is crazy to think. It's not crazy because we grew up with it, but like these historical moments that really aren't that long ago without any social media, without any YouTube, without any podcast, without any sports talk, without any ESPN, right? Like
I didn't even have ESPN at the time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's crazy to think. And I'd almost argue, let's see if you agree with this. I'd almost argue it's bigger than because there wasn't that.
Yeah.
So my argument would be if the Buckner play happens, let's say in this World Series, the 2023 World Series, it's the J.R. Smith forgetting the time. You see what I'm saying? Like if J.R. Smith forgets the time in 88 NBA Finals, like a Celtics Lakers or Celtics or like Pistons, Lakers, whoever it is. Do you see my point? Like, I feel like it's a bigger moment in time
like
because then it's just
Chris Webber calling the timeout.
100%.
Yeah.
Because now it just runs its course, right? Social media is going to run the news course and it's going to kill it.
I mean, like 5, 6, 7 years after Chris Webber's in the NBA, people are just fucking. People are mocking with the timeout signal.
Oh yeah.
J.R. Smith, they're like, oh well, J.R. going to J.R.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't like he forgot the time in an NBA Finals game.
Yeah.
it wasn't even that big of a deal because of social media.
He forgot the score. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to another call.
What's up, boys? Joe and Andy. It's your boy Bryson calling to you live from Atlanta. Retired
Bryson's
Super
going
DirtBall
through it.
here. I have a great proposal, and I think the DirtBalls would absolutely love it. So these Twitter Spaces is where like you start your own space. You can just put dirty sports content, whatever you want to put. What is your title, Joe and Andy on Twitter, and let the DirtBalls come in. And Joe and Andy, you can moderate it because you'll be the host. You can mute and unmute people. But let's just have DirtBalls once a week or once every other week. We meet up on Twitter Spaces, and you just let DirtBalls debate you guys on the most whatever topic they want, man. Like just like an hour a week, just one time a week. Get on Twitter Spaces, let the DirtBalls, all of us be degenerates together and monitor it, and let one after another speak, and y'all just debate them, whether it's about Taylor Swift, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Michael Jordan. But Spaces is a good way to connect with us, and I think the DirtBalls would really appreciate that. So just tell me what you think. Stay dirty.
I've never used Spaces. Is it like Clubhouse? Remember Clubhouse?
It's exactly what it is. And I don't know if it was, well, you know, I know the thing these days is like Elon Musk is like, Mark Zuckerberg stole fucking Facebook status, fucking Twitter, and brought it back to. It's like, didn't you guys just steal Clubhouse? Wasn't Periscope just like acquired by fucking Twitter? Like, so there's a couple different things about this. First of all, not sure I want to fucking spend an hour of my week debating dirtballs about fucking Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. Like,
also, as if you're watching this show on YouTube right now, I know like a live conversation is different than calling into the hotline, but like we're open to hearing your shit. Like we get some wild fucking calls on here. There's nothing that's really like, if you wanted to call and talk about Kobe Bryant, you could. Like, to go into the thing, Andy and I also, I mean, we certainly have a differing opinion on Twitter right now and what's going on with Twitter right now and whatever, which I find funny because I'm sort of Mr. Anti-Twitter. Meanwhile, Twitter has shadow banned Andy Ruther. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, I know.
But you can't. I tried to find Andy Ruther the other day and I couldn't. They suggested Andy Rutherford, which was interesting.
It's been like that for months. I don't know how to get out of that.
Have you tried some anti-transgender tweets? I think they'll give you a free blue check mark and move you into everybody's For You page.
I don't know what to do. I discovered it. I was trying to tag myself on something for Gold Star, and I was like, I can't tag myself. I also think it's like I'm just trying to play this out. Like, can you just mute somebody? Like
yeah, you can mute.
You don't want chaos.
Like, you can turn on people's things and turn people's off. I'm gonna say this. Like, I think Twitter has become a cesspool of fucking like hate, and you know, it's super like it's.
We disagree there, which is fine.
Yeah, it's super not fun for me anymore. Like I know that they're like you're gonna log back into whatever page you logged out of, and I'm like, I don't want to be force-fed some nonsense. Like I don't even think RFK Jr. fucking exists without Twitter these days. You know, it's just like the kind of person we only know that fucking person's name because of fucking Twitter now. And, you know, as I said the other day on Threads, like I'm not some Mark Zuckerberg stan, but you know, Threads is voting for Joe Biden, which I didn't do. But it's like, I don't even fucking like it. I just fucking hate the other guy. I hate the other thing. So it's like, I'm not really, and again, I'm just speaking from my personal thing. Andy has a different opinion of it. I'm not sitting here today going like, yeah, let's do some cool new thing for dirtballs on Twitter.
Like my thing is like, I still think the long run Twitter's gonna be fine. I think, again, we disagree on this. I think Threads is there's just nothing to it. Like the minute the Jets are on Hard Knocks, boom, it's breaking on Twitter. Like, boom, some political thing happens. Boom, it's breaking on Twitter. Like, Threads doesn't have that. Threads needs to have that. Threads, the usage is already way down. Like we'll see. I don't know. My take on all this stuff is like, they're all different crowds, right? So Threads is using the Instagram crowd. And in my opinion, the Instagram crowd is like not the Twitter crowd. Does that make sense?
Andy, of course, I 100% agree. And unfortunately, like, I think what's crazy about Twitter these days is like, there was a time where I was like tuned into comedian Twitter, NBA Twitter, NFL Twitter, Black Twitter. Like we always talk about like this Twitter, that Twitter. I feel like, to be told, this is just my opinion, I don't feel like any of that shit exists anymore. Because now I just feel like if you're on NBA Twitter, you're on NBA Twitter and anti-transgender Twitter. If you're on comedian Twitter, you're on comedian Twitter and anti-transgender Twitter. It's just like the thing has become like and listen, I get it. Buy a fucking shit and do whatever the fuck you want with it. Like, I get it, but like, that's what the dude wanted to do with it. And he wanted to make a space for those people. And now those people are getting paid by him to be there. It's like, it's pretty obvious that's what he wanted to do with it. It's just like, it ain't my thing. Joe Schiavelli probably loves Twitter more than he ever loved Twitter. It ain't for me.
I mean, look, obviously, we've had in-length discussions that we fully disagree there, and that's fine. I think that, at the end of the day, what I find fascinating is, like, I was looking at different feeds. Well, first of all, Threads had me. I followed AOC on Threads, which I found just as fascinating, and I never followed her. 100%. I took a screenshot of it. I was like, why do I keep seeing AOC stuff? Which, whatever. I don't really care. But what I was going to say is, I was fascinated to see on different platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, just the engagement. And it is
absolutely.
It's completely different depending on what you're trying to do. Now,
totally. And Threads is not good right now.
It's not good right now
because I think
it'll get better.
I think what we talked about a couple episodes ago, I think right now, I think they dove in. They tried to dive in during the rate limit exceeded gate. And it's like, dude, you guys don't have a searchable. I can't put Saquon in and see the news about Saquon today. I can't search for Saquon Barkley news today. Surely they have to fix that, right? Surely at some point they'll be like, hey, well, your feed can be all the people you follow, right? Surely. If not, well, then they can get fucked too, right? Like, if I'm just going to be force-fed Haley Bailey or whatever, some fucking Instagram model that used to fuck some Minnesota Viking every goddamn day, I'm going to get the fuck off, because I want to be fed Instagram models' opinions in text form as much as I want to be fucking fed Tim Pool saying that every kid is trying to become a kitten. Like, I don't give a fuck. Social media is for following you follow the people you want. But one thing is for fucking sure. Like, if you're going to force feed me some shit that I fucking hate, like, at least the TikTok algorithm, like, learned some shit, and they force feed me they force feed me golf swing tips. At least the Instagram algorithm learned, and they force feed me fucking the amount of fucking ads I get for sneakers on Instagram. I'm like, you motherfuckers, I'll buy fucking sneakers, and you're ruining my goddamn life. I buy goddamn sneakers off an Instagram click once a month. I'm like, you motherfuckers, figure me out. What Elon Musk doesn't realize is if he force feeds me hate, I'm going to leave.
But again, my argument to you was, if you go to Clay Travis, they're going to feed you that. That's probably in your algorithm.
Sure.
Because but my point is, I don't see And I've showed you that. I don't see that stuff when I'm on different Twitter feeds.
Well,
I don't see politics.
One thing's for sure, Andy. I mean, there's no disagreement with this. If you click on any tweet, Schefter, me, it doesn't matter. The replies are people who are paying Elon Musk $8 to be on his platform. That's who's the first. Those are the he's not even pretending that's not a thing. Your verified users will be pushed to the front. I have no interest in giving Elon Musk any of my money.
Here's what I'll say.
Nor am I verified. Dude, I didn't verify myself on fucking Instagram either. I'm not verified on Facebook. I'm not giving some billionaire $8.
But there's benefits to all those. I would counter.
No benefits that are worth it for me.
Okay, well, like if I can have longer form videos or certain benefits on different platforms to pay, right? There are, I would argue from a business sense, there's definitely benefits. I think podcasts will start being fully loaded on Twitter. I believe that. And Theo Von did it with the Roseanne Barr one. And I think that's what's going to happen is I think in the long run, I was like, so I read way too much about this stuff because I'm fascinated by it, right? All the social media. And I was reading an article today and it was like the evaluation of Twitter is like cut in half. Like
the financial evaluation.
Yeah, they're already saying like it's worth half of what Elon Musk paid for it.
Well, it wasn't worth what he paid for it. That's why he didn't want to pay for it.
Yeah, which is no surprise of how things have gone. But it was interesting saying they're still through that evaluation, they're still bullish on the future that it's going to be something that nobody thought. And I think a lot of these things are, at the end of the day, my thing on all these things, I was like getting into TikTok and then we're going to have gripes with all these things, right? Like I tried to post the Dave Chappelle fuck yo couch with, and I did it on Instagram stories of like just mocking, like trying to change my daughter at 4 a.m. when she's kicking and screaming and going crazy. They wouldn't let me due to TikTok policy,
right? Because
he's dropping some N-bombs in that.
Yeah.
TikTok said, we can't play this with audio. And I'm thinking, well, then I'm not going to post, I'm not going to post it because part of that is the shtick, right? That's part of the Chappelle shtick.
And dude, and listen, TikTok is super, like you can't say kill. You can't say
I didn't know that.
You can't say suicide. You got to say unalived yourself and fucking all that shit.
Which is ironic because the studies show like all these platforms, all of them, and TikTok's one of the leading ones, contributes to suicide within like young girls.
Yeah, of course.
So like that's irony in itself. Anyway, long answers for this. I actually agree with Joe. Like, I'll be honest, man, like I don't really have much interest in.
I mean, listen, again, like
I just don't know where that goes. Like
I want to take it back because I appreciate Bryson's suggestion in its core, which is like, where do we do, like, I'm not against like making more fucking content for dirtballs. And I think that there is always like this social media thing where it's like YouTube will ban you for this and TikTok will ban you for that. And Twitter won't ban you for anything except, saying that men and women aren't the only genders or whatever. But like, I don't know where it is. And I don't know if it's like creating a fucking space, but like, I go back to the thing. It's like, dude, I'm open to your idea. I'm just not open to spending more time on Twitter. Like, it doesn't feel good right now to me. That's me. Me and Andy disagree with that.
And that's fine. Yeah.
Andy has his reasons for being like, I don't, whatever. But like, dude, I've done it before. It's like, oh, you want, like, again, I'm not some Mark Zuckerberg stan. I think the guy's like probably fucking at his core, like an evil person. Just like I think at his core, fucking a lot of things that Joe Biden's done over the course of his life is pretty fucking evil. I've never been a Democrat. Probably never will be a Democrat. It's like, I'm not like picking one side or the other here, but I'm also like, dude, like Joe Biden's in the White House. What the fuck ever? MAGA people disgust me. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, It's hard to be a comedian and not be on social media these days, but I don't have to be on the one that fucking makes me kind of grossed out. So like I'm open to this. Let's fucking do it. It's not going to be in Twitter Spaces.
Well, again, I think, it also have to be worth it. I'll be honest, guys. Like on any of this stuff, like
also fucking, there's a lot of this. Like, do you need us? Like, have a fucking DirtBall Spaces.
I mean, there's avenues for these conversations. I think Reddit's a good forum for some of these discussions. But I'll be honest too. Like, I don't see many dirtballs trying to argue. I don't, and that's not a dig. I just don't see somebody being like, I'm going to call in and say why I think Steph Curry's a top 5 all player. I think a lot of people like, especially with text. There, even though it's not like showing your face, there is a difference between hopping in and voicing it versus texting it via social media.
And props to you, Bryson, for always being a guy who's fucking called in and put your name on it. And that's great. But
yeah, you guys can do that. 310-359-8365. It's past 10 o'clock and I'm an old man and I got babies waking up. Not babies, baby. I don't have a second kid on the way that I know of.
Okay, good.
Just
So is that the show?
Yeah, man.
Great.
Sorry. By the way, our guest texted me during the show.
Did he?
He did.
He's tuned in?
No. He said, ideally, I'd like to come on Thursday.
Okay.
Which is going to be tough.
Yeah, especially since we're recording Wednesday this week, correct?
That's the plan, right?
I mean, that's the plan. We'll let you dirtballs know what comes together. But Thursday, I am headed down toward the desert because I'm doing a show at Agua Caliente in Palm Springs on Friday. Andy Lazarus, my Dirty Slides co-host, is going to come open for me. So in hopes of getting out there and, getting some fucking Palm Springs time that isn't just driving into the desert in the fucking 115-degree weather, stepping out, doing Agua Caliente and coming back. We're going down a day early. So the plan was for us to record on Wednesday night. I'm sure there'll be tons of breaking news between now and 48 hours from now that we'll cover. Perhaps we'll have a guest if he can make it on a Wednesday. The DirtBall hotline is open, 310-359-8365. If you guys want to get a Twitter Spaces going in the meantime, go for it. I'll be at Agua Caliente with my co-host from the Dirty Slides, Andy Lazarus, on Friday. There's many an Agua Caliente in the desert. We will be at the Palm Springs one. Be at the Palm Springs one this Friday doing a show. Next week, I head to New York for a bunch of shows in and around New York City. I will be doing Atlantic City Comedy Club, August 4th and 5th. 2 shows each night with another friend of the show, Pete Sestaro. Come to that. Keep your eye on my calendar if you want to come to some New York City shows. I've had a few dirtballs reach out and say they want to come to a show. When's your next gig in LA? They're all on Instagram at Joe Prano. Follow me on there. I post my calendar. There's a little shows tab highlight. Click that. It's usually got my stories that I posted about upcoming shows. I'll be doing Eddie Ifton Friends at the Comedy Store on Monday the 24th. I'll be doing a great show at the Improv on August 8th. All of that on my Instagram at Joe Prano, on my website, joeprano.com/shows. But if you want to come while I'm on the East Coast, come to Atlantic City. It's going to be great. 1000th episode in New Orleans.
Yeah, get those New Orleans plane tickets, and tell me how I can not be shadow banned. You think if I paid, I would still be shadow banned?
I wonder. What do you think you did?
I think I'm in some out. I that's what I couldn't figure out. I barely even tweet. I think I was in some sort of algorithm. Oh, trust me, I've Googled everything. Doesn't matter.
Have you thought about just tweeting? Obviously, the cocaine at the White House was Hunter Biden's, and seeing if they just like give you a free check mark
Maybe
and unshadow ban you.
that would be great. Or I just tweeted Elon Musk because he can't put his phone down. So
Yeah,
hey man,
be like, hey man, big fan, love you blowing up those rockets. Think you're doing awesome.
big fan.
Hey man, big fan. Think you're doing great.
Your meme game is on point.
Your meme game is on point.
Why am I shadow banned?
Yeah.
Why am I shadow banned for no reason? I don't know. But if you guys want some great dad jokes, I am on Instagram.
Yeah.
That seems to be my move now.
Instagram dad jokes
Well, just
in your story.
now that I'm back, I think I enjoy it. I enjoy it. So all right, guys, let's wrap this up. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we get these kinks figured out with some guests because we have another one who's trying to do Wednesday night, if you recall. So
That's right. Have them both on. Have them both on together. Imagine having Joe Burrow and Yoshi on the same show. Wild.
Yoshi keeps texting me. Dude, he's the anti-you. Do you have the rundown ready? I'm like, dude, you're 2 shows ahead.
Yeah.
He's texted me multiple times about the rundown, and I want to be prepared. Have you ever been like, hey, man, give me that rundown a week ahead?
Once. Never once.
Not once. Exactly. All right, guys, I'm going to end this. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week. And as always, stay